Here at Dynamite Download, our thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. Brodie Lee and his family and friends, John Huber. He was truly inspiration to many as we see the outpouring on social media, and he will be truly missed.
Download.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome to AEW Dynamite Download. We are in quite the headspace coming out of this week's episode. Don't mind me. I'm just coming out of that ending of this episode. Everybody, I am just teary eyed.
Glad I'm wearing my shades, my usual.
Yeah,
shades.
you lucky guy.
You got
the gimmick.
Sure.
You got the gimmick going. You got the free the free emotion cover there. I was a mess at the end of tonight's episode. I held it together really well, but that ending, guys, girls, thank God my wife brought me an old fashioned because she knew I was gonna need it. That was quite the ending. Let's get into it really quickly here, SPD. The guys and the team, the family at AEW did such an incredible job honoring Brodie Lee.
I agree.
If you think about, you step back and you think about what they had planned for this week. If you imagine running an organization and the plans they had in store for this week, a world title match with Kenny Omega and Phoenix, there was some things that they had in store, and then everything came crashing to a halt. And
very quickly.
Life hit very fast. The thing that I'll take away from this is that the shadow that Brodie Lee cast was massive. The man's impact on so many lives. That visual that you show there, truly
it's more like
powerful.
a sun shining versus a shadow, because clearly he was a ray. He was a ray of light for many. I mean, every one of these people on the stage could say countless things that we would never know that he touched these people individually, on the base, and we heard a lot of it tonight.
Yeah, the man's legacy,
scratch the surface of it.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many touching tributes throughout the show tonight, and I think that's before we get into the card, typically we like to jump right in and talk about the matches and things like that. But before we get into the card, SPD, I feel like coming off the heels of the way the show ended, to see what AEW was able to do, what they were able to put together, and the way in which they honored Brodie Lee, his family, to rally around. It's one thing to, if you look at what they did here, for me, the thing that I'm taking away from this is AEW truly is a family. It would take their ability to get through this together, to put on a show like this, to honor Brodie's family, his legacy, that they clearly are trying to do their best to take care of the Huber family. To do all this in such a quick turnaround time and react to react with such class, right? I'm just blown away, and it just makes me so proud to be a fan of this company. I mean, I'm blown away, man. I felt like this was pure class. It was an emotional roller coaster ride, and I think that's life, right? I mean, life is an emotional roller coaster ride. There's so many laughs, so many tears. I think all of us can agree. This was really a beautiful, touching tribute to a great man. And we put it there. They talked about the Mount Rushmore of wrestling dads. It's just, you look at the legacy that Brodie Lee carried with him beyond the wrestling ring. I think that for a wrestling company, they did a great job of honoring what he did in the ring, but more so highlighting how special he was outside of it.
Exactly. It was definitely an extremely emotional show. of course, everything from top to bottom was a classy move by AEW, classy move by the Khan family. The way they started and ended the show and all throughout. And I'm very, very, very happy that there was an actual crowd there. And it seemed like a very large crowd there too. And it really helped the matches, helped the emotion. Not that you really needed that because it was full of emotion. I mean, the crowd was hot. They were, chanting, cheering, and the love for it. And the nonstop tributes throughout the show was very touching. And it just was, the common theme was just how good of a person he is. It's one thing to be a star in the ring, and it's another person to be just a good person. And that was the biggest takeaway that I took away, was that he was a great person, and he was a family man, and he was just a lovable guy. His in-ring career and in-ring style and everything is totally separate. I'm just looking at him, Brodie Lee John, as the man, and that's what the saddest part to me about it. And he was clearly universally loved by AEW, and we heard it from so many different people throughout the show, and we're seeing it, the overwhelming outpouring online for this. And it's like, this one just hits home a lot more for me. We've seen a lot of wrestling stars perish in the past, too young, gone too quick, gone too young. But this is just
a tragic trend of the industry.
It is very tragic trend of the industry. But this one for me just hits so much more home because I've been following his journey more closely. Nowadays in age with social media and podcasts and tweets and Instagram and anything like that, you can get to know, pull back the curtain, as you've said, on the wrestling, which makes it so much more fun to follow. And with Brodie Lee and Luke Harper, pulling back the curtain, seeing who he is. I mean, how smart he was, and being a hockey fan and being from Rochester and being a librarian, like all these things, like his journey from, nothing to this stardom to just, and nothing changed. It seemed like in his heart, nothing changed in his head. And it just, we heard it first from Jon Moxley, who is typically and consistently a person who really holds his emotions tight to him, and he's more professional.
Absolutely.
He's not active on social media, and he's not a person who really, I mean, you saw, his beanie was down over his eyes essentially, and he spoke from the heart, and you could tell this is not something that he does every week or at all.
No.
And it really was such a powerful promo from Mox. It was a 5-star promo in my opinion. What I really loved about the Moxley is that we're like, the common theme, the universal theme is that we're celebrating a great human, and that he's leaving a legacy to inspire others to be a good person every day. And that's what we talk about in Dynamite Download. The powers of positivity, uplift others as you climb, just bring positive vibes. And Brodie Lee seems to me, and just based on what we're seeing and what we've experienced, represented that to 100% and beyond.
Yeah, I think you mentioned when we get to follow these athletes on social media, we do get to see a little different side of them, and it does make us feel like we're connected on a different level. I think that, combined with the fact, SPD, that we're growing up, right? We have aspirations of being fathers of our own. We have fathers that we see are increasingly mortal, and it just, the older you get, the more in touch you get with the big picture of life and what's really important. And I think that,
for sure,
I think that all of us are on different stages of our journey, and we all realize those values at different walks of life. You could be 14 years old, and you can have what is really important to you and your values set, or you could be 45 and still not know. And I think, and this is an instance where Moxley talks about it. He's known the man for a long time, over a decade. And
right.
Even Jericho, I love Jericho's segment, where he talked about he'd worked with Brodie 27 times.
That's probably more than anyone on the roster. Yeah.
Right. And you have that kind of trust and that sort of relationship with someone. You get to see the good, the bad, the ugly. And for Jericho to share the story he did about Brodie Lee's mindfulness, his respect for other cultures, a desire to want to learn and grow and be better. That combined with a lot of these stories that made us laugh and brought joy to us, even the in-ring segment with John Silver throwing the papers, that there's so many things across the board tonight that made us see, Brodie John was further along in the journey than he was more mature. He was mature beyond his years. He knew at very young age that he wanted to be a great dad. He wanted to be a great husband, and how he got there, he figured it out, but he never let that pull him away from what his true goals were and what he wanted his character to be. And I think, we get put into tough situations, you get to see the character rise out there. And I had a lot of respect for the man, to go through the road like he did, to go through those travels like he had done, and the temptations at every doorstep, and to be focused on his family. It's something that we all can admire and we all can recognize, man. Like, I don't know. This one hit me hard. I'm with you just in that regard. I feel like Brodie, his loss, as Eddie Kingston said, is going to teach us a lot of lessons that we're going to carry with us. And as long as those lessons are in our hearts, he's never going to die. I think that so many of us, just interacting with so many of you guys on social media, and then talking to you about this SPD, this really caused us to step back and gain a little perspective. We've always been pushing for building each other up, reminding yourself when you have those moments, when you see other people have success and things like that, not to get jealous or spiteful, but to be proud and excited for them, because it's all relative, man. You don't, like, just because someone else is succeeding doesn't mean that you are failing. So I think
that's exactly what
there was a
Darby
lot
Allin said. Yeah, Darby Allin said it best. I mean, he was saying his promo really surprised me.
It's funny you had Darby's image up there, because that really was the theme. That really was the theme of what Darby talked tonight.
Yeah,
so many guys, especially in the wrestling industry, so many guys, SPD, when you're fighting for a spot, you feel like there's only so much room for the top guy, and you could cut somebody out from underneath them, and Darby really highlighted that. I appreciate you putting that up there, brother.
Darby, it was great. I mean, he nailed it on the head. I mean, Brodie was not there to take someone's spot, but he was there to elevate and uplift others. And that's very rare in a dog eat dog essential environment that you're aware of. And that's almost in every environment, any business or any job, a lot of it is dog eat dog. And, to be supportive and uplifting, there was no ego with Brodie, he said again, and how he wanted to wrestle. And that was his dream match. And so it was a powerful segment. I mean, we heard from so many different stars. I mean, Moxley really set the bar with his promo. Darby's was going to ask you, Dax was great.
I don't want to put, there's no sort of elite or delete any of that type of stuff. That just doesn't feel right. But leaving tonight, what are a couple, before we get into the show and we focus in on the meat of it, what are a couple, if you can, SPD, if you can just, what are a couple of the tributes or the segments or the moments from tonight's special episode that really hit you hard and you're gonna carry with you going into the week ahead and into the new year?
I mean, if I have to just stick on the tributes, I mean, overall, the whole show is it's going to be it's a tough one to swallow, but it was a home run and then some. It blew my expectations times 50. I mean, it was from top to bottom and an A+ show in my opinion. For segments wise, I really liked Chris Jericho's. He always has some good stuff to say, and just me being a dog lover, I know when dogs, my wife always calls me the dog whisperer. All dogs love me. Essentially, they try to, or I just love all dogs. So yeah, I get the part where he was just like how he has a dog that doesn't like anybody, but it was so welcome to John. And dogs have their own way of communication, but they know, they have a sense. When you're walking down the street with your dog and it starts barking at someone or something, like they know when you're sad. They have this sense that we don't have. and that really stuck out. You know, and then the Darby one we talked about was another great one, and then the FTR one, just reading his on social media, not necessarily the one on Dynamites, but just the one on social media was just really powerful, emotional, and from there I gotta.
No, man, no, you're good, dude. I mean, for me, I felt like everybody tonight did such a great job in honoring Brodie, but I'm gonna definitely leave tonight recognizing, for the Dark Order, that's gonna be one thing that I'm gonna push forward going into the new year. The Dark Order, the members of the Dark Order, I'm gonna really try my best this next year to try to encourage them and support them and push them, as a fan. These are a lot of young. I mean, you look at the Dark Order, that roster. I mean, Colt Cabana has obviously been around with the indie wrestling scene for a long, long time, but the majority of that crew is really young and has a lot of upside. I'm gonna particularly try to push for. We love Johnny Hungy on this team here, but Anna Jay showed tonight. I was really proud of her performance tonight. I thought Preston Vance had a moment tonight that he's going to remember for the rest of his life. And
absolutely.
So, losing someone like Brodie in that crew is gonna really be hard for them. But that's gonna be one group that I'm gonna be really pushing forward and going into next year.
These tears are real from John Silver. I mean, everything you saw was real.
I mean, look at that. Yeah. So. It was a really beautiful show. I think that there, like we talked about with Jericho, his being thoughtful, and even with the Jericho thing itself, Jericho has been criticized a lot on social media. A lot of people have been quick to throw stones at him, and that, even just another reminder for me tonight was, let's not cast judgment. Let's not be so quick to jump down people's throats, man. You look at what Jericho was able to say tonight and the perspective that he offered. It just showed like a real thoughtfulness of him and his core values. And so I think that'll be something that I'm going to carry with me going into the new year's. Don't be so quick to react. Be thoughtful. Try to observe more than you speak. And so that's going to be something that I'm going to carry with me based off of some of the things I learned from this wrestling show. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing what wrestling can teach us. I am absolutely the person I am today because of wrestling. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. So what I love about professional wrestling is that it feels like a family, and the show continues to evolve and the show goes on. It's a beautiful reflection of life. The tide keeps going, guys. We only have a short period of time on this earth, and the earth keeps spinning even after we're gone. So this was a great reminder. They did a great job of honoring Brodie Lee, but also so many of the characters tonight were in character, and they kept the show going. They entertained us. They put on a performance that actually planted seeds for feuds that I would love to see. I mean, I thought that Brodie Lee Jr. did such an incredible job of booking this show. There's so many things that came out of tonight's show that I want to see going forward. Starting off, I'll be honest with you, SPD, you throw the match results up for us. The Young Bucks and Colt Cabana going over Hardy Party. I mean, what a great blend of experience and teamwork. We call the call back to the Young Bucks versus Private Party, that great matchup that they had with those guys. Really, really great way to start off the show. We here at Download, we love when AEW Dynamite starts off with a tag match. It's going to be a good show. And the Young Bucks have been putting on, I feel like, some of the most consistently good tag team wrestling. I mean, this is going to be one of those things when you look back on their career, you want to go back and you're going to want to look at this chapter of the Young Bucks. They're this title reign. They're just putting on really consistently great matches. And I felt like, transitioning into the next match, SPD.
Oh yes, I mean the Young
the
Bucks
tag
were
team,
your
yeah,
tag team of the year. You as our Dynamite Download Awards.
right.
This Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston, the Butcher and the Blade. We'll dive deep into that, but it was a dominating performance by Lance Archer.
Oh
It
my
was, to
gosh.
me, not to spoil the thunder with our full analysis, but to me, it was a world championship performance by Archer, and it was quite the tribute to Brodie, the way he came out, and that match was outstanding. And the next match, to me, stole the show.
Man, you got to introduce that Kingston Butcher and the Blade match. Man, that everything about that match there was so many moments that I love that. But dude, I felt like this John Silver, the good, the bad, the hungy, Johnny Silver, Alex Reynolds, and Hangman Page versus the MJF led Inner Circle crew. Like that MJF, Santana, and Ortiz, that like I loved MJF's Puerto Rican gear. That was just like
just a jab.
I can't wait to talk about that match, dude.
Oh, yeah,
what a match that was. Really, really entertaining, emotional. And again, served an example of why we love MJF as the heel of the year. He was the unanimous pick here at Dynamite Download for a reason.
Speaking of heels, Anna Jay and Tay Conti took down Britt Baker and Penelope Ford. Typically that's kind of like a 4 heel group right there, but it was still an entertaining match. And once again, just to keep the theme going, the Dark Order came out on top, and the emotions ran strong with those 4 ladies in the ring, and it delivered.
Yeah, I mean that match was one of the killer matches on this card. I mean, all 4 girls totally delivered. Absolutely incredible. Love that match. Can't wait to talk to you about it more. And then Brodie's dream team, Cody Rhodes.
Picks. Great.
I mean, you look at that crew, man. That's just quite the group, and we here at Team Dynamite Download, we love Team Taz. So
yeah,
this match was awesome, man. What a pairing of talent. We would never really get the opportunity to see 10, Cody, and OC together in a normal circumstance.
But it worked so well, and it was very well done.
Yeah, what a great pairing that turned out to be. Really, really highlighted the individual strengths that each of those 3 brought to the table. But we'll put off that to the end of the show. We're going to follow the format like we normally do, SPD. I'm going to reel it in going into the new year. We're going to try to be consistent and tight and focused. So we're going to get into it. The Young Bucks and Colt Cabana, the tag team champions, teamed up with Boom Boom to take on The Truth Is the Truth and Private Party. What a match this was. Big showing by Matt Hardy and Private Party over the last few weeks.
Right.
I'm really loving where this tandem's going. But SPD, what were your takeaways from the way this show started? I got to say, anytime Dynamite starts off with the Young Bucks, we are happy here at Dynamite Download. Are we not?
Oh, I mean, they could start the show, they can end the show. They got it all, obviously. I mean, they are the tag champs for a reason. And this match delivered. It was a great start to the show. It was obviously, as expected, an emotional entrance by the Dark Order. The tandem offense, as always, by the Young Bucks is second to none. I mean, there's no one that does it better than them two. And I was watching it with some of my friends here that are not AEW fans, and they were just like jaw dropping, like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that stuff before. I'm like, this is AEW, baby.
Welcome to Dynamite.
Welcome to the show, man. And
that's
this
right.
Is time and time again. Wow, they're setting the bar. They're innovative. They're leading the charge. I loved that back to having a crowd there. They're getting the Colt Cabana chats. Obviously a guy who's not necessarily been featured recently that much, but just the wave, the momentum, like you're talking about, the Dark Order wave that's going to continue past this week. I feel confident with our join Dark Order January recruitment month we're going to do. It was nice to see Colt do on a run, and all the springboard backflips that he was doing were very, very impressive. He looked very strong in the ring. He looked very comfortable in the ring, I mean, he's a veteran. It was interesting how Private Party was kind of playing the heel moves, and they were getting a little booed. Hardy is kind of on the fence with kind of doing like a double cross heel stuff. And how he knocked down
up on that, SPD.
Right. He was getting a lot of boos. It was strange. And Hardy, how he knocked down Private Party off the top ropes, it kind of looked forced / intentional. I don't know. It was a great finish to the match for sure. I loved it. I think it was a great way to start the show. And, this is going to be a, consistent theme for me, that it being an elite, because it delivered on everything I wanted to and more. It made everyone look strong.
Yep.
It was entertaining. It was high pace and everything. So this match definitely was elite. I loved how they kept showing throughout the whole show Brodie Jr. Throughout the crowd. And, it probably means more. It will probably set in for him more years and months down the line to him, what this night meant to him, living in the moment right now. I read some stuff that happened before last Dynamite taping, how, Brodie Jr. came out and tapped out Kenny Omega. I don't know the whole story behind it, but I don't know if you know about that, but he came out and tapped out Kenny Omega and he won the world championship. And it's pretty cool stuff. So, and then what happened tonight throughout the show was really, really special.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, AEW, top to bottom, this organization is pure class. I mean, like Tony Khan, I mean, again, I'll emphasize it. I mean, the Khan family, what they've done for this entire organization, right? I mean, we talk about their focus on COVID testing, their ability to encourage a modified schedule for a lot of these, workers to make things easier on them. The lifestyle, I mean, you could just tell, you and I've talked about it so many times on Dynamite Download, the team there feels happy. They feel like they're grateful to be there together. I was watching Brian Cage posted something over the holidays about just what a family it feels like, how blessed he feels to be a part of this family here. So I gotta say, top to bottom, they do a great job with creating a company based off of values that are real. I respect that. And the Young Bucks lead the charge on that, right? They're a part they're a great tag team, but they're also part of the leadership, the executive group here. And I think that their values and their path that they've gone on really has led them to a place where now they can lead other men. They're reshaping the business here in a way that I really respect. Getting into the match itself, I gotta say, Private Party, it's quick to. One of the takeaways I had from this match was, man, we have been talking a lot about the Acclaimed. We've been talking a lot about Top Flight. Right? A lot of these young teams that are coming on the scene that, like, man, they're stealing the show. When we got to see Private Party in the ring again with the Young Bucks, it took me back. Rewind the clock. It took me back.
Gin and juice style.
We got to see the Young Bucks get upset. Our current AEW Tag Team Champions get beat by Private Party, and it just made me like kind of think back to, like, man, Private Party, they're like the OG hot young team in AEW. Like, let's not sleep on Private Party, right? I mean, Isaiah Cassidy he's getting better and better. I think Mark Keen's athleticism in the ring is like, that dude can hold his own. His athleticism is top notch. Like, he's one of the best, low-key best athletes on the AEW roster. So those guys got a lot of upside, and I would love to see. I
agree.
SPD, you brought up a tag title tournament at some point. Yep. Man, the tag title tournament that they could create in this company. I mean, think about some of those matchups. I would love to see that with how stacked this AEW tag division is. I think that really has a place in the future. Getting into the match itself.
Before you get into that, I think what we should do, I think that's a good point. I just thought of it. We should create our own tag title tournament bracket with our dream matches, our dream results.
We could seed the teams. I like it.
And we could see them. We could create the bracket, pick the results. Each week we'll add a new, do it. And then we'll pick the winner of the tag title tournament that we wish and would hope to face the Young Bucks next.
All right. Well, SPD, let's work on some graphics this week.
Yeah.
Let's work on getting some polls out there.
That's great. Let's do it.
I could think of a lot of teams off the top of my head and tonight we got to see them. But this tonight, Private Party and the Young Bucks, those two getting in the ring together. You and I have talked about so many times. It feels like the Young Bucks, no matter who they're in the ring with, they are money. it's so fitting that their entrance is with money. It's just like that team makes everybody look good. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why even as an FTR fanboy, I love FTR. That's my style of tag wrestling. I love their respect for the business. I'm kind of an old school guy. But even with that, I had to pick the Young Bucks as my team of the year because they continue to find ways to have great matches with teams across the board. Variety of skill sets. You look at this team going up against the Private Party and Matt Hardy. Their style is so different than a Young Bucks, than an FTR. Like their style is so much different, and the Young Bucks still have a way to prepare and knock it out of the park. So I really love the way that these two teams work together. And again, I like the blend of experience and youth that the AEW is putting together out there. I really like that. I think that you mentioned Matt Hardy's role in this match. His gimmick is certainly teetering more and more towards heel tendencies. His ego, it could not fit through that door behind you. He's got all this, and he's buying into his own hype, and rightfully so. I mean, you and I have talked about Matt Hardy has continued to reinvent himself, continued to find ways to be entertaining. We are loving this version of Matt Hardy. I mean,
I love it.
So different from what we've seen in the past. But he's absolutely doing phenomenal. I loved it. This is an elite out of me, a big fan of it. But SPD, you mentioned it going into this show on the review of the card. This next match there was a star-making moment for you. So I'm not going to even worry about segues, brother. I want to hear you spit your take on Lance Archer, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson going head-to-head with Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade. Now, this is a continuation of us getting to see Kingston and his crew running roughshod, right? Those guys have been engaged in one of our absolute favorite feuds in AEW. Mm-hmm. We got to see Lance Archer finally get his hands on Eddie Kingston tonight. This was a big moment in the making. What were your thoughts on this one, man? You definitely came away impressed, huh?
I think Lance Archer, he was up for my top performer of the night in many different reasons and ways. Just the way he presented himself. I mean, he came out the mimic of Brodie Lee, Luke Harper wardrobe with the white beater and the jeans, that really, at first I had to take a second look, and then I was like, okay, I get it now. This is a true class act, a true classy move. And, the fans loved it. And he was, really feeling the baby face and that. And not only that, but this is the best I've seen him in the ring in a while. And granted, he hasn't been getting a lot of ring time in terms of one-on-one matches and stuff, but he looked like an absolute star. He looked like an absolute champ. He was walking those ropes, doing the backflip, the cross bodies. He looked so damn strong. The choke slam. I mean, he was just so dominant. He stole the show of this match. He was definitely the MVP of this match by far. And I mean, we've been preaching, we've been on the bandwagon of Lance Archer for a long time. And this is just another level. He took it up to another level, and you can tell even the emotions, but to start the match, before, Eddie, his promo, he has to stay true to his true heel character.
Loved it.
Which was great. And then he quickly was just like, I love you, Brodie. But he has to stay true to it, which I get. And it worked perfectly. Like we'll talk about next match with MJF, it worked perfect. It was short and sweet. It wouldn't be an Eddie Kingston match, or it wouldn't be Eddie Kingston on TV if he didn't, flap his gums,
Right.
It would definitely would. But,
well said.
Overall, of course, like Uno and Stu have some great chemistry. They got some great moves. They got some great tandem stuff. They're clearly comfortable together, and they're fun to watch. Yeah. We love Butcher and the Blade. We are on the Butcher. We are Team Butcher and Blade 100%. And this match had its place. It was a lot of fun. Team Taz getting involved, Jake the Snake getting involved.
Yeah, it was nice throwbacks, good feeling moments for sure.
So this match for sure. I mean, it hands down an elite match for me.
There's no way.
You might as well. Lance's performance, man, it wasn't elite, and that stole the match for me. And that wasn't even. There's so much more that happened in the match to happen. So it was a great match. Lance Archer looked so strong. Everything about it I loved. I want to rewatch it.
Yeah, SPD, I want, like, when we've been talking more and more about our videos and how we can engage you guys as fans even more. I want this to be like the rebirth of the Murder Hawk. I want the title of this video to be like, this dude. I tweeted out at some point during the match, I was like, holy smokes. So Lance Archer, how is it fair that a guy like Lance Archer can grab a dude like Blade, right? I mean, Blade is jacked to the gills, right? But how is it fair that a guy like Lance Archer can grab him and choke slam him like with the authority that he did, then walk the ropes, leap off the ropes? Thank you. How is it fair? This is a monster right here, man. Like, this dude, Lance Archer, is next level. This performance was a reminder of, like, we talk about Brodie. One of the things we love about Brodie, beyond what a great man he was entertaining big man in the ring. Mm-hmm. That fella, he was a big boy, strong, but I remember how many dives that man would take. I mean, mm-hmm. Brodie would put caution to the wind, and he would go all out. And Lance is that type of mentality. You and I love that classic. It's becoming a trademark move for Lance Archer. The crossbody off.
Oh, I love that crossbody.
Over the top rope crossbody. Lance Archer is showing very quickly, and this was a great match, SPD, for that very reason, man. If you are trying to sell Lance Archer stock, show a fan this match, man. This dude is a beast.
I'm all in. I'm buying.
And then, brother, Butch comes in to try to even the odds, right? The big man from Kingston's crew going against the big man from this team. And it wasn't even close. I love Butch, but Archer makes Butch look like a munchkin. Archer's towering over him, man. Just the power, the athleticism, the speed, the burst that the Murder Hawk has been showing. Dude, this match was a great reminder why, if you rewind the clock, I wanted Archer to beat Mox way back when.
Me too. I was ready for it.
So I'm right there with you, brother. This was my takeaway from this match. Holy smokes. Do we need to see Lance Archer on Dynamite again? Oh, yeah, my gosh, man.
I was up at 7 this morning at the gym.
I saw, don't remind me while I was sleeping. Go ahead.
And I was listening to Everybody Dies, and I posted, I said, if this doesn't get you going, nothing will, because I was just pumped for it.
Everybody. It's such a great tune, man.
Yes.
And that's a shout out to AEW, man. So many wrestlers have great entrance themes. So many wrestlers have great entrances in general. You know, I tweeted about that during the Cody match tonight. Just like big match Cody has like the coolest entrance I've ever seen.
Yes,
but man, Thunder Rosa's entrance music is sick. There's so many people. Butcher and Blade, you know, Butcher's entrance is iconic in itself. That walk he does.
Oh, I love the stomp.
So I will say this, right? I'm glad you pointed out the Kingston promo going into it. This was a moment kind of that pivoted the whole show. And I got to give Kingston his props for having the cojones and the stones to cut that promo, right? Because it could have been one of those shows that was a tribute show in and of itself and was just contained and entertaining based off of the catharsis of us seeing these guys out there again.
Right.
And the honoring of Brodie. But Kingston had the cojones to play the character, to be the big, you know, the mouth, like this trash talking street, like nasty New Yorker that we know he is, that thug mentality that he carries with him. I love that. I love that. I love that. And one of the things I put out there, you know, we got to see two sides of Kingston tonight, right? We got to see him in character, playing that despicable heel, talking smack any chance he can. Eddie Kingston's the type of dude that would, like, if you turn around, he'll spit in your drink just because he thinks it's funny. He's that kind of guy, right? But we got to see him on a raw level in his tribute to Brodie. And, you know, I love how emotional. I'm an emotional, you know me, SPD. I'm an emotional guy. I I love how raw and real Eddie Kingston feels all the time, man. And that's why he was our top performer. You and I both picked him. I know Bonds was on Team Taz. He got Taz as his top performer, but that's the main reason why I picked Kingston as my top mic performer of the year. Is just every time he's on the stick, dude, it feels like
everyone listens.
And it feels like he's being raw. Like it feels like he's not acting. It just feels like it's real, man. Like he's like, even when he's in character, it just feels like it's a part of him amplified to another level. Kingston's the real deal, man. Kingston's the real deal. And speaking of real deal heels, our heel of the year.
Oh gosh.
and the controversial.
He did not disappoint at all tonight.
No, the controversial performance by MJF tonight. I know a lot of snowflakes out there. I'm a softie myself, but guys, MJF was just being his character, man. I know he was taunting poor Brodie Lee Jr. tonight. I felt bad. I wanted to, at one point I wanted to jump through the TV and tell MJF, leave the kid alone. But thank God, Brodie Lee was able to crack that kendo stick across MJF's head.
Right.
Got the ultimate comeuppance. Man, MJF is so good at being bad, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, is he ever? I mean, he didn't win unanimously the best heel from Dynamite Download for a reason. I mean, just from the entrance alone. I mean, he came out with the Puerto Rican tights.
I love that.
And just the way he's just walking, he's got the headband on, and I knew he was going to be true to himself, as he should be, and it worked so well. I mean, just look at this. I mean, this guy this whole match. After, like I was texting you guys, I said, as soon as this match over, I was like, okay, that's the show. I mean, what more? I mean, that stole the show, that match, and then
top to bottom. Let's get into it real quick. I mean, let's before we get into the rest of the night, before we get into the match itself, you showed the picture. MJF's gear, like that whole. Let's focus. Johnny Silver had a special tribute gear. And you're showing it up. You're going to show it up here right now. Yeah, Johnny Silver had a Brodie Lee tribute gear, and truly, I want to see Johnny in that more often. I thought it was awesome.
Keep it forever. I mean, we've mentioned it before. I mean, we were tweeting him out, and he needs to rock that gear from moving forward on. I mean, Brodie got it for him as a rib, and he looks great in it.
He looks awesome in it. He looks gret in that gear.
Yes.
So that's one, and then man, I'm all for MJF, Santana, and Ortiz.
Yeah.
That
worked well.
Crew they are on fire right now, man. Like, and I loved MJF's gear. If you were following him on social media, MJF again, his antics tonight should not surprise you. He is always in character. Even he cut a pre-Dynamite promo about how. This everybody thinks this is going to be a feel-good show about the Dark Order, but anytime MJF's on television, it's about him. MJF is so good at being bad, man. I loved it. I really, really, really like. I want to throw this in there before we it gets off. We go on to the next match. Seeing Santana and Ortiz back out there, brother. You mentioned it previously. We got a chance to see Butcher and the Blade in the ring. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, Young Bucks, Private Party. I mean, there's a lot of tag teams on this division that are awesome. But Santana and Ortiz are at the top of my list. I mean,
they all have been for a long time.
Yep. I love my teams, the FTR, the Young Bucks. Those guys are great. But Santana and Ortiz are low key. One of the best teams in all of wrestling. Their look, their gimmick, their ability to go in the ring. You and I both love how entertaining they are. Ortiz's facial expressions are always on point. He's maturing as the Inner Circle is starting to see conflict within its group. But Santana, that dude. Santana is the truth, man. That guy, you follow him on social media, you know that he's the real deal. He's a real, that's the type of man that I want to be. He's the real deal outside the ring. And I've been saying this for a long time, man. Like, there are certain teams where you see, all right, best friends. It jumps right out at you. Trent is a workhorse, right?
Yep.
I've been saying it for a long time, dude. Anytime you watch Santana in the ring, I've watched him in dark on singles matches. You watch him in the ring with Ortiz in these tag matches. Dude, Santana is one of the he is one of the best workhorses in this company. When it comes to actual just in-ring work, I'm always impressed whenever Santana's in the ring, man. That dude is smooth. Like he exudes professionalism in everything he does. I'm very impressed by how he carries himself. And I think there are very bright things in the future for the Inner Circle, even though we are anticipating, turmoil in the group. I really was a fan of what I saw out of MJF and Santana Ortiz. I don't know about you, but I'd like to see them teaming up more often in the future.
It worked so well, and watching Santana and Ortiz on Dark last night, they were very impressive. A nice, solid match, very impressive ring, and I was happy to see them back working together. They got some great chemistry. I really love when Santana does that suplex, almost like Spinaroonie Booker T style breakdance leg.
Yep.
And then they come in, and then Ortiz comes in and they double suplex walk forward. I think that move is great. Jericho said it too. How Santana went through a lot of adversity in 2020 as well. I agree. This combo, this trio worked really well. But it was surprising on paper to see them lose to the Good, the Bad, the Hungry, but
of course
it just, context, it worked, and everything, because of the distraction and all that, it all worked so well. It was booked so well, executed so well. Back to the whole match itself, the ring gear on Silver was spot on. We just got to keep it going. And the papers, the Hangman with the papers, and then Silver with the papers.
It was so good. That was one of the more subtle, hilarious, feel good moments of the show.
Oh yeah, you gotta. If you didn't know what it had to do with, you have to watch the BTE Brodie special.
And hopefully hopefully more eyes were on the product tonight, and that inspired some people to get into BTE SPD, because our love for the Dark Order has organically grown over the course of the year. A lot of it due to BTE. So much of what we've seen, the personalities of these characters that we get to see week in, week out, really it gets developed on BTE. And I want to sneak that in there, people. If you're not watching BTE every week,
you're missing
out.
I have
a feeling
Monday
most of our fan base is, but if you're not, you really need to check that out. I mean, it's great content.
I completely agree. I look forward to it every week. They do a phenomenal job. And honestly, like you said it best, if I was not following BTE, I would still enjoy the Dark Order, but I wouldn't love the Dark Order the way we love the Dark Order now. I mean, you're getting there because of BT. They're getting so many more opportunities and so much more following, and we're going to just help grow the following with Join Dark Order January, which yes, of course.
Every time you say it, you got to throw that hand up.
You have to, because we've been members of the Dark Order following for a long time.
You were in longer than I was. I was a holdout, but
I loved how. Okay, so to me, not to steal the thunder, but I will talk about it later. But, my top performer was John Silver because of this match. Everything from top to bottom. His emotion, which how could you not be emotional? His ring attire, his finisher, how he took the finisher. He took Brodie Lee's finisher. He did it. He did the moves. That seesaw springboard flip with MJF. I have no idea what to even call that, because I was just mind blown. I'm like, wait, where's he going? What's this? And I had to rewatch it over and over again. There was a GIF, and I kept seeing it over and over.
I know.
And it was just outstanding for everything about it. So I just loved the way it was finished. And then the biggest surprise of all was Eric Redbeard. And oh my gosh, I almost jumped out of my seat and just was like, yes, this was just so great. I mean, obviously we're huge Wardlow fans, but this was so great. It didn't make anyone from the Inner Circle look weak.
No.
But it just, I hope for the sake of him as a wrestler, Eric Redbeard, Rowan, as we know him in WWE, he is in AEW. I don't want him to be a replacement of Brodie, but it could be tied into as a tribute, as an honor to be part of this. I think he has a place here, and there was a lot of rumors in the past. More than
fair, right? I mean, if you think about it, bro,
he's never going to replace him, as he doesn't want to.
If you were best friend, if you and I Dynamite Download, right? I mean, if something happened to me, you would do everything you could to try to make sure that this didn't, die with my legacy, right? Like, and I know this is a small example, but like,
right.
Eric and Luke had, or Brodie, they had a relationship that really was paved through years. I mean, Luke Harper or Brodie Lee's spent many years by this man's side.
Yeah.
And when you develop that bond, that brotherhood, you're going to take it personally that you don't want his legacy to fade. You don't want what he helped build to fall apart. So, I don't know where Eric's place is going forward.
He looks huge.
But I hope that he does get that. I agree with you. Like, it's not a replacement of Brodie, but it's a recognition that this is a brother of mine, and and who's going to fight harder than Eric to make sure that the Dark Order continues to honor.
That's a good point,
right?
Who would want it to push harder than him?
Who would be more? I mean, this man would be willing to sacrifice whatever it took to make sure that this group that really Brodie crafted, he is the leader of he was the exalted one. He's going to do everything in his power to make sure that group is successful, and that all these people inside this group continue to thrive. I think that there's a place there, and I think you look at Eric. I mean, the dude is, especially on the AEW roster. I mean, AEW has this year done a nice job of infusing some bigger, talented, big men in the roster. Miro came on board. We got to see Wardlow get a little bit more shine over the course of the year. But when you look at Rowan, Redbeard, when you look at Eric, he's legitimately there are only so many men that size, and I think that his presence alone would go a long way.
He just manhandled Wardlow tonight.
Well said, bro.
Who could do that on the roster right now? Look at this.
I mean, look at that choke. I mean, really, look at the height of that choke slam. I mean,
I can maybe get Marco Stunt that high, but other than that, I pride myself in being pretty strong, but like to put Wardlow that high.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Wardlow as one of the most impressive big men on AEW.
He's our breakout star of 2021, we predict.
Right. I mean, Wardlow, and again, it was nice to see Wardlow show up tonight, right? I mean, we got to give Wardlow some love. It was nice to see him show up tonight. But that's a great point. And I think that going forward, there's that we should think that maybe, just maybe, there's a place for Eric in the Dark Order. I like where your head's at. I support
it 100%.
I like where your head's at with that for sure.
I support it.
One of the things I want to go as we transition into the next match, I'm going to say this was an elite from me. I think it goes without saying. Anytime MJF is on screen, it's going to be hard to vote against that.
Yep, I agree.
I was a big fan. This is really the first time we got to see MJF, Santana, and Ortiz together. So I was a big fan of that. Yeah. But I think I'm starting to become okay with the fact that Britt Baker is my favorite wrestler in AEW, other than Pac. I think maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. If they keep pulling Pac away from me with the pandemic, I might end up just becoming a Britt Baker fanboy. I
even as a Steelers fan, she is.
I know. Trust me. I'm the Brown. You're going to throw the whole show off if you bring up that. All right. The Browns and the Steelers rivalry. It's very hard for me as a Browns fan to admit how awesome Britt Baker is. But I'm going to say this. Even as a Browns fan, I can admit the Steelers. The Steelers are an organization that is run right. They're consistent. They are the bar. And as a Browns fan, I can even admit that. And I will say Britt Baker is the bar for women's wrestling to me. The more I see her on the show, she's just so bankable every single segment. If she's on the mic, even if she's on the mic after she's in a long tag team match like this, the woman can still cut a promo that makes me want to see what's going to happen next. There's something about Britt Baker. she's just hitting her stride, man. I mean, when you go back to when this company started, there are very few people on this roster who have grown and who feel more comfortable on screen than Britt Baker. When she started, she felt kind of lost, but ever since she's leaned into this DMD persona, brother, I mean, everything she does is phenomenal. This match, and it was so nice, and I want to use this match as the example because I could say it on any match of the card tonight.
Yep.
This commentator team tonight with Jericho's addition, I got to say, what an awesome addition. I want him in permanently one day.
Oh, he will be.
I mean, please,
he has to be.
Make that happen. Maybe when JR is ready to retire, you transition Jericho to fill that spot because my gosh, is he good. The commentator team tonight has been preaching so much of what your boy Crayfish has been pounding the desk about for weeks. Britt Baker's violence and intensity in the ring has gotten so much more dialed in. The woman is like, she's rabid in the ring now. Her confidence, her relationship with Tony Schiavone, like we talked about, but her confidence, how smooth she is on the mic. And then this feud with Thunder Rosa, brother, every time I see Britt Baker on screen, I'm in, man. I don't know what else to say.
You know, as the resident tough head, I don't even know what you would say.
You are the harsh critic. I have been
the hard ass about the women's wrestling division.
I've been an advocate for women's wrestling long before. I mean, you still struggle.
I do struggle because
you see matches.
Unfortunately,
like
I don't want to
compare. Dark. Hey, we see matches. Unfortunately, like what we saw on Dark, and I understand why women's wrestling still has some critics out there.
I want the best for them, though. I want the best for women's wrestling,
and this is where I gotta say, SPD, I want you to have the mic, but this is where I gotta say, a person like Britt Baker who brings that intensity, right? All you're asking for out of the women are to do what makes this look and feel smooth, polished, professional. You don't want to have those moments where you almost feel embarrassed, right? And Britt Baker, this match tonight, they did women's wrestling proud. Am I wrong?
I agree. I completely agree. And all I want for them is to succeed. And this isn't a men versus a woman thing. This is a wrestling thing. This is succeed for the product. And when you see someone like Britt Baker, who is the leader of the women's division, and when you see someone who like Thunder Rosa, who came out, which we are so happy to see, which she is one of our breakout stars of 2021 that we want to see break out even more. Not that she needs much more because she is there. She is the star that is on the pedestal.
Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa feud is the feud of AEW.
I agree.
I know that Darby and Team Taz. I know but dude, there is no hotter feud in this company. Am I wrong?
No, I completely agree. And this tag match was very entertaining. It surprised me how entertaining it was. A very high pace. The second half of the match was much better, and I did like the finish. And honestly, Anna Jay looked better than ever. I think maybe just riding off the emotion. She's getting more comfortable in the ring. She was smooth. She was great finish. And unfortunately, for us being Britt Baker fans, they got the loss, but it really didn't affect her. It's not going to hurt her in the long run. She came out strong at the end. I think
every woman in this match looked good. And that's one of the things that
that's tough to say sometimes too.
That's one of the things I tweeted about is all four women brought it tonight.
Yeah.
I was particularly happy to see Anna Jay be able to get in a tag team match with Tay Conti because those two are, those two are sisters like you and I are brothers, man. And for Anna to go into that match, and you could tell Anna was the queen to the king of Brodie, right? Anna was that she was a very special place in the Dark Order, and I think that she knew that in her heart. and the emotion was riding high for her throughout tonight's performance. For her to be able to have her best friend there next to her, that was special. And I gotta say, all four of these women, I'd love to see any combination of these four going at it again. Penelope Ford, you and I have talked at length about Kip Sabian and Miro and that dynamic, and we don't talk enough about Penelope Ford because
she's great in the ring.
I think that it's funny because Kip's in this trio, and he's so clearly the third most dynamic of the three. Penelope Ford just has that star power super bad. That girl just pops when she's on screen. I love Kip. I'm not saying anything bad about the man. I think he's actually quite funny, but I think it's just kind of humorous to see because I think Penelope Ford doesn't get a lot of shine, but that girl can go. I mean, her Hurricane Rana is one of the best in the business, regardless of gender. I mean, she just throws a mean Hurricane Rana.
I completely agree on that.
And I will say, I mean, going into this segment, SPD, I wanted to talk about Anna Jay because I was so impressed by Anna Jay tonight. I want to use this platform almost to mention, Britt Baker. Britt Baker is kind of like that. I feel like she's like the Young Bucks. We talk at length about how the Young Bucks are such a great platform or canvas for so many different varieties and styles of performer in the ring. And the way I look at Britt Baker right now with how she's hitting on all cylinders as a heel, pairing her up with Thunder Rosa, that feud is got star-making potential for both of them. I think that
they're already stars.
Thunder is such a natural baby face, and Britt is such a natural heel. That is going to go places. But after that's done, I think that you and I have talked about the winner of that needs to take on Sheeta, who will probably be our women's champion at that time. Because man, that woman has fought tooth and nail for almost, 8 months to keep that title. I will say, after that happens, if Britt Baker wins that, I want to see Britt Baker go against go against Anna Jay at some point. There's something about Anna Jay, even though she's in the Dark Order, I think is going to be going through a period of where they're transitioning to heels to faces.
Right.
And I think that it's natural. Johnny Silver's a natural baby face. I think that Preston Vance tonight showed that he could be, he can be a baby face we can get behind. I mean, the guy's got that power. But Anna Jay, you put her in the ring with Britt Baker, you got two beautiful, hard-hitting, intense, violent women who are only getting better. I gotta say,
they really are.
Anna Jay's growth as an in-ring performer has really impressed me. Tonight, she really showed well. As you mentioned, I want to see more of her going forward. I want to see Anna Jay go against Britt Baker at some point down the road in a one-on-one matchup. I think that Anna showed she's got some skill, brother. I mean, she's young, but she's got some real talent. I think that there's some title contender opportunities down the road for her. Anna. That match was really phenomenal, but leaving that match, SPD, you and I both agree that Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, that was really what stole the whole match and the segment. That is really the hottest feud going in wrestling. And the only competition that we can have in AEW is this ongoing feud with Team Taz, Cody, Darby Allin. I mean, it's just just
look at their faces. Look at Team Taz's faces right now. It just exudes stars. Each one of all four of them, their faces have different personalities, and it's amazing. And this is the first time we really heard announcers, and Jericho was the one who said Ricky Starks looks like a young Dwayne Johnson. Social media has been buzzing about that, and it's no secret. It is no secret, man. He has got. I mean, you've preached it time and time again that Ricky Starks has it, and it is not easy to get it, and he has it all. And it was a great main event for sure. And I loved Brodie Lee Jr. picking his dream team of OC, Cody, and 10.
What a team.
It was handpicked,
I love
by
that.
him. It was great. And by Team Taz, the public enemy number one, essentially, for those guys. So
well,
it
that's
was
an
a great
example,
showing
right?
by
Like we
everyone.
talked about with Kingston earlier in the night, where a guy who won't stop running his mouth off. I mean, Taz won the best mic performer of the year from Bonds for a reason. That guy knows how to talk trash, and Ricky Starks sure is following in his footsteps. My goodness, is he good on the mic? I gotta say, I did go back and I watched Team Taz in AEW Dark, their performance, and those guys when they're in the ring together, I really like the blend of styles that they have. We've been talking a lot about it since the formation of Team Taz, how they all complement each other.
Yeah.
Adding Hook to it is a nice little touch because he kind of adds that like outside pest, which will allow.
Yeah, we saw some of him tonight too.
It'll allow Starks to kind of transition more into an in-ring role with Team Taz, where he doesn't have to be that outside sort of that nuisance, that kind of pest role, while you have the two powerhouses, right? When you have two studs like Cage and Hobbs, Starks has been the one that's kind of the one that runs his mouth and gets the team in trouble. Having a guy like having Hook out there at ringside adds another level where, like, how many more things are you going to do to get involved in your opponent's mind, right? To distract them, to get in their head. I really like the way that this team blends together, SPD. I think that, we've talked about it at length. Team Taz feels like, and I'd love to hear from our social media team, but Team Taz feels like the hottest thing going in AEW right now. I love the Inner Circle, and it's hard for me to say this, but I think that Team Taz has maybe overtook them as the hottest stable in the company. There's a lot to like about where this crew's going.
I think they just need more FaceTime. They need more camera time. And I think the trend will start that once we see in 2 weeks Darby and Cage.
Yeah.
I still don't think Cage will come out victorious at this point, but with Darby's first title defense. But I still want them to being in the ring more, and even just they just need to be showcased more. Inner Circle is consistently showcased more time throughout the 2 hours, so they kind of have the benefit there, as they should. Both factions are just
great factions.
Great factions.
No, I'm not.
I mean,
and it goes back to what we
best.
talked about, right? This goes back to what we talked about, where just because one person's shining doesn't mean another one shouldn't shine at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, both those factions are awesome, and quite honestly, I've had some conversations with some friends. I'd like to see the Inner Circle and Team Taz get into it at some point. We've seen
that would be great.
We've seen we've seen signs of like that alpha male mentality from both groups, right? Well, I mean, I would love to see those crews go at it for who's the top dog, who's the top team in the company at some point.
Yeah.
But they're definitely involved in their own feud right now. Team Taz with Darby, that moment where we got to see Darby and Sting both come out.
Oh, yeah.
That was quite telling. Well, I will say before we get into it, SPD, I'm going to throw it over to you to give me a lead or delete of this match. But the thing that I love the most about this matchup, and I saw it throughout as a trend throughout the show, but this was such a great blend of styles of in-ring performer. I one of the things I was taking notes on when I was watching this match, you look at it, Team Taz, Brian Cage, Will Hobbs, you have two absolute powerhouses in the ring.
Right.
And putting them in there against Cody Rhodes and Preston Vance, underrated powerhouses. I mean, we don't recognize Cody's strength a lot of times. Cody oftentimes gets lumped into that he's an all-around wrestler, right? He doesn't have any weaknesses. But Cody's built, brother. And you and I both know that 10 puts in the work. That dude is jacked. I really liked seeing the core powerhouses going against each other, and then you have that wild card thrown in there where you have Starks and OC, which hey, we've seen Starks focused in on Darby Allin, but another body type, another wrestler who is a face that could make a very natural opponent for Starks down the road at some point would be Orange Cassidy. I really would like to see those two in the ring together because their styles would mesh so well. And you have such a great natural heel with Starks and such a great natural baby face with OC. I feel like so many of this show kind of felt like it was a hodgepodge of talent thrown in together. But what I loved about it, and I'm leaving tonight's show, there were so many instances where I walked away saying, man, I want to see so-and-so against again, Britt Baker versus Anna Jay. I'd love to see Ricky Starks versus Orange Cassidy. There's so many examples of
those would be great.
MJF and Santana Ortiz against, again, King. I'd love to see that more of these things. So even in a week that was a special episode, I feel like AEW did a nice job of leaving that trail of breadcrumbs, brother. I'm engaged. I love this company so much. What was your takeaway on this main event, man? How did you feel coming out of it? It's an elite out of both of us.
Hands down,
which
elite.
Is fitting.
I mean, this is a clear wash elite for across the board of the card. I mean, if you take away the emotion side of it, the matches itself were phenomenal. I mean, it was a home run show and everything, but then you add all the emotion and the tributes to that. It just exceeded it beyond we can even talk about. But the match itself, with Brodie Jr.'s dream match handpicked, Team Taz looked strong and never made them look weak, even though they lost, especially with the aftermatch shenanigans. The power by Cage and Hobbs. I mean, we've talked about how those two should just be running through the roster. The power of Cage and Hobbs, they should be running through the roster one by one, plucking them off. They could be doing them by 5 at a time, just the powerhouse. I mean, I love like the stall suplexes, just showing how strong they are. But then you have Orange Cassidy getting some high marks in, but honestly, 10 and Cody looked awesome together, and 10 with the spine buster, one of probably the best. It's up for debate being the best spine buster in AEW, man. The spine buster was great. He did the Brodie bomb tribute. There was some everyone in the Dark Order had their little nuances to tribute to Brodie. It was really great. And typical Team Taz fashion, they attacked from behind at the end, and then all of a sudden the post-match shenanigans were great. And how Darby came out and then Sting came out right after him. So they're like, he came out from the same place as Darby. Are they together? What are they doing?
That was
so great.
I love, and this is one of the things I'm starting to try to like emphasize to the wrestling community, guys. I know that so many of us want to try to feel like cool and smart and like we know it, but like it's awesome to be a mark, man. I love when you have those moments when you mark out. Like, how cool was this when the lights went out? Darby comes out, the lights go out again.
I know.
Sting comes out, man. I don't know, man. I was just like, I love that. I love when wrestling has that ability to kind of like hit you right when like the emotional side of things and take you away from the analysis. I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. This moment was an awesome visual. I mean, we've had several experiences between Brodie between Darby and Sting where you're like, man, the visual of just these two alone is touching and powerful.
This is the first time I've noticed what was on Darby's face.
I said Brodie. It's because I was reading what's on Darby's face. Wow.
Yeah, this is the first time I saw that, and so you kind of can miss that on TV because so much is happening so quick. But it's a nice tribute.
Very
for
cool,
that.
man. Very cool.
This was great, and then when Cody, they came back and they closed out the show very respectfully, and
I mean,
the tough one. I mean, bro, Cody saying you can judge a man's character by how he treats someone who does no good, and it's a tough segment to get through on many levels. No,
I held it together for most of the night, and then, dude, when Brodie Jr. came in and they put his boots down, like, I just lost it, man. I was crying like a baby, and I just got to say, like, everybody involved again. Like, this isn't. I mean, we here at Dynamite Download, we're grateful to be a part of the extended AEW family, and just the way that we feel connected to this product and to the people involved. And man, like, they did such a nice tribute tonight. It was beautiful. And I would be remiss if I didn't spend this moment while we're talking about this main event. Dude, what a star-making moment for Preston Vance. I'm rooting for this kid from nowhere city, Claire. I mean, SPD, you know my journey. I lived out in the middle of nowhere in the mid for a while, and and Preston's from Clare, Michigan, which is literally, there ain't nothing there, folks. And for him to have a moment like he did tonight, you could see how much it meant to him. I hope that this kid has a real bright future ahead of him. I don't know. I felt like this was a moment that was heavy, but he'll always remember for the rest of his life. And dude, I gotta say too, before we move on to the next week's show, Cody, that dude is pure class, man.
What he had to do is more than I could ever done. You know, going out there and just like
Cody is pure class,
leading the charge. I mean, he is definitely leading by example. He's got a huge heart, and it was a difficult task to do, but I know he would have had no one else other than him do it. Yeah,
I'll say this too. I mean, I hear all sorts of stories from my dad about how Mr. Shad Khan is. We had a little Christmas get together, and I told my dad, man, like, the way that Tony has handled this moment has been so, I mean, dude, Tony's like our age, man.
Yeah.
And for him, the way he handled this moment, you are one of your catchphrases is like, mature beyond his years. I know that you always respect people who kind of have that wisdom, who don't get caught up in like the partying lifestyle and stuff, man. When you look at how Tony handled this whole scenario, from respecting the privacy of Brodie and his family, for months where we as fans were blindsided, but they knew the struggle,
right?
For respecting the privacy of the family, to the message tonight, signing Brodie Jr. to a contract. I have the utmost faith that like that family is going to be in good hands. I mean, I told my dad, I was like, man, Tony was mature beyond his years, man. Tony really handled this whole scenario as classy as you could possibly get. And so I got a lot of love for what AEW is doing right now, man. And I have a feeling that this company is going to be around for a long time. I've seen some people making some jokes about the contract that Brodie Lee Jr. got, and I got to say it disgusts me. And I think that they're going to be forced to eat their words in a positive way. I'm going to say it'll make me smile when I see Brodie Lee Jr.
We don't even need to give those people the time of day.
No, I'm saying I want to say right now. I want to say like it's going to make me really smile when I see Brodie Lee Jr. out on AEW, because I have a feeling this company is built on SPD. You and I talk about this a lot.
Yeah,
this company is built on people who are chasing their dreams.
Yeah,
and like this company is built on people who believe in what they're doing, believe in each other, and you could see it. Tonight was a family. This was not like a company producing a tribute show. No. This was a family coming together to honor a man.
All hands on deck.
That's a difference, right? Like this was not some overly stylized, overly produced product that was out there to get clicks.
Right.
This was a family of people who love each other, who care about each other, who wanted to honor a man that they are going to miss. And I think that they did such a difference in how they presented this product. I'm very impressed by AEW and the class that they had. And I'm rooting for this company going into 2021. As we look forward to the future, next week's show is going to usher in the new year, SPD, and we're finally going to get that Kenny Omega versus Phoenix match that you've been chomping at the bit for. So finally, I mean, my gosh, before the holidays, when you found out that Omega and Phoenix were going to be in this, all I heard about from you was that this was going to happen and how excited
Match of the
you were for
year.
this match.
Oh my gosh, it's going to start 2021 so strong.
Thank gosh that this match was bumped to next year, because we would have had to re-record our end of the year awards ceremony.
I know.
Having to put all sorts of lauding and praise for match of the year. I got a feeling Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix is going to be one of those matches that is going to make some people's jaws drop, dude. Like, these two are at it.
We didn't hear from Kenny tonight on Dynamite, but his presence was felt for sure, as always, but on social media and stuff. But this card next week, and I'm in Florida right now, and I told you before the show that I'm going to do everything in my power to get up to Dynamite next week, just for that match. But I mean, the card has stacked itself. Unfortunately, I didn't even have room for all this stuff, because the one thing I did forget was another one we're looking forward to is Wardlow and Hager.
I know. I was looking up and down. I was like, did that get bumped?
It happened so fast when they were reviewing the card for next week. And I was looking for all this, and it was a miss on my part. It's just stacked.
Well, let's get into it.
I don't know how they're going to get through it. I mean, Snoop Dogg's going to be there. You talked about Kenny and Phoenix. Moxley's going to return to have something to say. The women's championship is on the line with Abaddon. So, I mean, it's filled. And then they added this 8-man tag match. It is.
I mean, I love that too. That Young Bucks and SCU versus the Acclaimed and TH2.
You could see that coming.
How many times do I talk about the blending of experience and youth? And I mean, you get the Acclaimed and TH2 going in a team together. That'll be an interesting tandem. I don't know. This show next week, it's going to deliver that Omega and Phoenix match that I'm personally stoked about. I think that one's going to be great. I know that you're annoyingly excited about it. The match that I'm pumped about that you don't even have up on this show.
I know. Me too, man.
Match, bro, that match is going to be so good. I mean, when you talk about two athletic big men, I can't wait to see what those two guys can do in the ring together. We're going to see the culmination of that Sheeta versus Abaddon feud. I know that Bonds can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
So we're going to have those two going at it, and we can only imagine what violence Abaddon's going to put Sheeta through. But then, kind of an out of nowhere match, Cody Rhodes versus Matt Sydal, which is you're rocking the Nightmare Family shirt. But I know you've been a big Matt Sydal fan. I mean, you've been really impressed by his abilities in the ring. No,
this could steal the. I mean, okay, minus a Kenny and Phoenix. I mean, this could be
come on.
This could be a mid-show stealer or a show opener stealer that could really set the tone. I think they should lead the show with this, because it would really set the tone. It's going to be two guys that can work their asses off in the ring. It's going to be phenomenal.
That's true.
It's all but confirmed that I'm going to be up there next week. So if you follow us along on all social platforms, I'm going to be live tweeting. I'm going to send some behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to be, sending videos of what it's like to be at Dynamite Live in this day and age. So it's going to be a very fun thing to follow along all week. So as soon as I get tickets, we're going to talk all about it, so you can follow along and see how you can witness and watch the AEW superstars live safely and distantly, and what it's like to see a show at Daily's Place in this day and age. And so
I can't wait.
It'll be fun to follow.
Yeah, I can't wait for that SPD, and I think that's a great reason for fans to continue to follow and subscribe, because when you talk about, as we're ushering in this new year, I think so many of us are hoping, hey, the calendar is going to flip to 2021 and it's going to change everything. All this COVID stuff's going to go away. Everyone's going to be happy and feel good again. And we have to recognize that there are going to be protocols in place, and there's going to be a lot of measures taken to respect the health and safety of the fans that come. Jericho pointed out a couple times tonight that this fan base, this crowd tonight was as hot as they've seen in a long time.
I agree. You can hear it.
So I can't wait to have you out there. I know you'll be screaming and yelling. You'll be representing the Dynamite Download and giving that positive vibes to all those wrestlers, making sure that they get the love and the praise that they deserve. But it'll also be an opportunity for you as followers to see really if you've been on the fence, what do I do? Do I want to go to the show? Obviously, AEW is offering some amazing ticket package prices because
yes.
SPD.
Steal.
I know you and that pocketbook, brother. You're always watching that. Your budget is always on
best
point.
Bang for the buck.
The best bang for your buck, and man, AEW is offering some incredible ticket deals right now. So, anybody who's interested in that, SPD is going to bring it to you live. All sorts of great updates on Twitter and on Instagram, where he is running that show smoothly, flawlessly, and beautifully on Dynamite Download on Instagram. So make sure you follow us on there, and you'll see what it's like. And then hopefully you can be there live and in person, and you can support these guys and gals who make us so happy, who give us so much great content. We can't wait to go into next year together as a team and as a family, and honor Brodie Lee as this company continues to grow and to thrive.
Exactly. And follow us along. And we, just before this episode yesterday, we recorded our award show of the year, end of 2020. We'll be posting that all throughout the week as well to round out 2020 and start 2021, as well as we did our best to give Brodie Lee the tribute he deserves. And so thanks for everyone for tuning in. Until next week.